So I bought quite a few of the Lattafa Asads. Some are quite good, and for the price, really good. So I'm definitely excited about bourbon. So the bottle, pretty much like the other ones, but in a different color. I paid about 27 bucks for this one, which basically puts this in the same sort of a range as the other ones in this line. I think I paid anywhere from 25 to 40 bucks for each of the other ones that I bought. This was a blind buy, and I will share my initial thoughts on what it smells like, usage, performance, and more. I would love to hear your thoughts on Asad Bourbon, so make sure you comment. So let's find out what it smells like. Okay, pretty much right in the opening, quite a bit of sweetness and also vanilla. Yeah, definitely, pretty much straight away, vanillic and sweet, and I'm also getting that lavender pretty much straight away. And my very first thought was that of Azzaro the Most Wanted, but like 5 seconds after that, I actually thought more of Valentina Buoni Roma Intense. So the opening almost like a mix of Azzaro the Most Wanted and Uomo Buoni Roma Intense. And the opening is basically sweet and vanillic with lavender. But here's the thing, the more it goes into the mids, the softer I feel the lavender gets. So in a way, I do feel that this shifts, this moves away from being something born in Roma intense-ish in the mids. And the vanilla also changes a bit in the mids, making me feel that this sort of moves away from being born in Roma intense-ish. And the mids is also where I feel bourbon moves away from that initial sort of Azzaro the Most Wanted vibes that I got. So the mids to me is still vanillic and sweet, but I do feel that the lavender softens up quite a bit in the mids. And instead I'm getting that cacao together with a soft dose of spiciness. And that cacao gives me vibes of something else that I have in my collection. At this point, I'm not sure what though. And the dry down is where I feel that cacao almost balances up that vanilla. But this primarily in the dry down, at least to my nose, and at least based on this first impression, is primarily about vanilla together with a bit of cacao. This thing is still a bit sweet in the dry down, and the whole thing has a bit of ambery warmth and shine to it. It would have been really cool if the lavender would have lasted longer to bring the whole thing a bit of aromatic brightness and freshness. But even without that lavender in the dry down, this still smells good. So here are my initial thoughts on the vibe of Lattafa Asad Bourbon. This, at least in the opening and a bit into the mids, gave me vibes of Azzaro the Most Wanted and Buoni Roma Intense. So at least that part of this is definitely something sexy. And even though the vibe of those is pretty much gone in the dry down, this still gives off quite a sexy vibe. When it comes to compliments and mass appeal, this is definitely a mass appealing compliment getter. Maybe not quite as mass appealing like Azzaro the Most Wanted and Buoni Roma Intense. But this is definitely a fragrance with a high likability factor to it. When it comes to performance, I really feel I gotta wear it more, but I do feel that at least based on my first impressions of it, this is definitely not a weak fragrance. It's probably not beast mode, but this is definitely above average. When it comes to seasons and occasions, I do feel that this is a fragrance that leans more towards fall, winter and spring. I'm definitely going to try it on summer nights though. It does have a bit of warmth and sweetness to it, so make sure you try it out for yourself and see how it develops on your skin with a bit of warmth. As for occasions, definitely date nights or when you are going out. But with that said, most people will most likely think you smell really good regardless of the occasion. But Lattafa Asad Bourbon won't be the first fragrance that I will be reaching for when going to the gym, and this won't be my first choice on a warm summer day. So who's Lattafa Asad Bourbon for? I think the sort of a baseline here is that you should know that you enjoy vanillic scents, and it's also a good thing if you enjoy the scent of cacao. And even though I feel bourbon moves away from the Most Wanted and Uomo Buoni Roma Intense in the dry down, I do think that if you enjoy both of those, you will most likely enjoy this. But again, I do feel bourbon moves away from those in the dry down. Make sure you stay away if you don't enjoy vanillic and sweet scents, or if you don't enjoy the scent of cacao. So what are some of the alternatives to Lattafa Asad Bourbon? So I think I sort of figured it out, and I do feel that bourbon is sort of like a mix of these four fragrances. So like a mix of the Most Wanted, the Most wanted parfum with a bit of warmer Borneo on my intense thanks to the lavender, and then a bit of Bad Boy Extreme thanks to the cacao. So like a bit of these together, but not quite going fully into either. But I do feel all four are alternatives to Asad Bourbon, and I highly recommend to check out my other videos about these four. And I highly recommend to check out my Azzaro the Most Wanted Eau de Parfum versus Parfum video. I'm gonna link to that one above. So here are my final thoughts on Lattafa Asad Bourbon based on my first impressions of it. I definitely like it. But here's the thing, I do feel it gets a bit flat in a dry down, but it's good for sure. And I do want to say that my experience with the other Lattafa Asads that I bought is that they do change with a bit of usage. So I feel I gotta sort of revisit this in like a month or two. So it smells good for sure, but am I blown away? Do I think this is a masterpiece? No. But I'm definitely going to revisit Asad Bourbon in a month or two. So I really want to hear from you guys. What are your thoughts on Lattafa Asad Bourbon? Do you think this is a masterpiece? Do you hate it, love it, comment? Like this video, thank you. I really do appreciate it. Make sure you hit that subscribe, make sure you hit that notification bell, and make sure you check out my other videos over there, and I'll see you in the next one.